Hello, everybody, and welcome back to With Deirdre. And I'm here today to speak to all of you corporate ladies and women who are in business and in that business environment working the 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are. And I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice from my own personal experience, and I will explain my situations and be a little vulnerable with you and tell you where I screwed up in the past and it's either cost me my job or it cost me my ability to climb, and 3 things to avoid doing that are massive that you need to know. So, if you want to climb and be appreciated at work and be valued for your work and just keep being successful and not get canned, this advice is advice that you need to listen to today. So, first one is never outsmart your boss, particularly if your boss is a woman. And I might get some hate in the comments here, but women are catty, they are nasty, and they get even nastier in the corporate and business environment, okay? And I want to give you the circumstances in which taught me this lesson, and this lesson cost me my job combined with another number 2, and I'm going to tell you what that was. And number 1 was I outsmarted my boss. So we were undergoing an audit. I was a manager. I had a team of about 50 people that were working for me, and but I had 3 sort of assistants that worked directly on my behalf and with me, and they were part of my team, okay, in managing and coordinating all of these employees. And we're in the healthcare industry. And my boss does not have healthcare education or background. She has a business background, and I believe it was limited to some degree. And she was a woman who became very easily overwhelmed. She was a woman who stress really affected her, and I believe she was challenged with separating her personal life from her professional life and leaving personal at home. And this impacted her ability to think logically at work and to stay on task, okay? But she was great. She was a fabulous gal. I really looked up to her. I really valued her insight. She had much more experience in the corporate environment than me, and I did learn a lot from her. But I made a mistake. We were being audited by the Ministry of Health and our whole corporation and our branch specifically. And the threat was the branch would be shut down if we failed the audit. Now, right before I was hired, they failed the audit. And the ministry gave them 6 months to clean up their act, get everything in order, get patient data in order, get everything neatened and cleaned and organized away and the way it should be, and all the paperwork and charting caught up in time in order to pass this audit. And if they failed the audit, the branch would be shut down. So I was hired, and that wasn't my role, and that wasn't described as my role when I was hired, but I quickly learned that I was to catch up on all the errors the person prior to me in my role had made that participated in them failing the audit. So I started going into charts and looking into patient charts, and they were blank. They were blank. They were empty. This gal had made charts so it would look to the national director, like who was our manager who we spoke to, that the charts were filled out. She was on top of her work. They were empty, blank. So I had to go back, find all of these patients who were discharged, patients who had moved on to other organizations and agencies and support services. And I had to get all the data, talk to all the healthcare providers, and catch it up. And I had to back chart. And I did it legally. I documented late charting, late documenting. I did it all right. But I did it, and I worked day and night till 11 o'clock at night. Then I was up at 4:30 in the morning going for my run, and then back to work until I started work at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and work all day, and then till 11 at night. It was the most intense period of corporate life I've ever had, and I've been in and out of corporate and in the more direct emergency trauma recess areas of healthcare, and and then back into management and in forensics a little bit, and back into management in corporate healthcare. So I've bounced around a little bit, but in corporate, this was the most intense period of my life. And Comes to audit day, and I passed the audit with flying colors, 100%. The auditor said, I can't believe you were able to do this. She was so impressed with how much work I caught up on after the failure and the neglect that she'd seen in the patient care, or not care, but in the documentation and in the policies, and like the Ontario health policies as well, right? Like the standards of patient care. Excuse me for a moment while I let my chicken in. Oh, he's right here. He wants out. Chicken, you want to? Oh, you want to see chicken? This is my chicken. And he's named that because he is the biggest chicken on the block. Right, little guy? But I love you. You're my bestie. Okay, oh, Chico. There you go. You're free. Sorry for the interruption. He'll be crying in 5 minutes to get back in. Anyways, I passed the audit flying colors. I'm so proud of myself. I feel amazing. And I was first to go. And then my boss goes, and the other two staff go who are part of my team managing these groups of people and this vast amount of employees. My boss failed. The other two gals failed. They didn't meet the standards of what was expected. And first, the auditor said, I'm going to give you ladies 2 weeks to catch up, and I'm coming back. And in 2 weeks, if it's not done, the branch is being closed temporarily until you can catch up on your work. This would have been devastating for the number of patients that the organization served, okay? And the branch served for the region. And I stupidly opened my mouth in front of my boss, in front of the auditor. And I said to my boss, who started crying immediately when she failed and everybody else failed, and she was very emotional and very distraught, and I said, don't worry, it's okay. I'm going to have time on my hands now because I am caught up, I am free, I have passed, I'm done my work, and I can help you with yours. I will help you catch up. You will get done in time. We're going to pass this audit. We're going to work as a team, and we're going to help each other, and we're going to pass the audit. It's going to be fine. Calm down. Nothing to worry about. The next day, the letter of termination came because lesson learned. I made her look less qualified than I was in front of an auditor. And I made her feel, more importantly, because that's what people remember is how you make them feel, no matter what situation, social and particularly in business. And that was the hard lesson learned. I was devastated. I loved that role. I loved that job. And what came along with that is they needed reason to terminate me because I'd been there way past probation. I'd never had a letter of any disciplinary action or any complaints against me. I had letters of commendations. I had above and beyond awards. I had awards given to me for great work that I have done. They had no reason to terminate me. So, 3 girls and my boss collaborated, and they came up with accusations against me. And this comes to point number 2. Never, ever, first of all, never become that girl in the office that wants to be friends and wants to be liked by your team. Now, I had a collaborative team mentality. I wanted all of us to work together, to trust each other, to depend on each other, and to really work together. That doesn't work. That's not real. You have to be out for yourself. And this is terrible advice, but it is the truth and it's real and it's what's going to keep your job. And how I went about that was I was friendly. I showed interest in their lives. I showed care and I showed integrity. When they would tell me very personal things. One girl had told me that she had been suicidal at one point in her life. Rumors die with me. I am a place where rumors go to die. Gossip goes to die right here. And I never told a soul, and I didn't hold it against her. Like, people go through hard times in their life. I totally understood and I totally respected her. She's a fabulous girl, a fabulous employee. She did a great job and a great job in her role. But what she did was what I would do is also I would do things like bring in donuts for the whole team or bring in food on Fridays to celebrate, or I would compliment them. I would say, like your nails look amazing. Like I love your nails, or your hair's so fabulous. I love it. I'm so jealous. I wish I had hair like that. And compliments like this. Well, they turned it into discrimination. Okay? And it's a lot of fucking twisting to turn that into discrimination, but they did. And the HR letter when I was fired said the accusations were of discrimination and bullying and intimidation, but my boss complained and said I bullied and intimidated her in that audit by offering to help. And that was described clearly in my HR letter. It was twisted somehow into bullying and intimidating her. And she felt uncomfortable to return to the office until I was gone because I made her feel so insignificant in that audit meeting. But the other accusations, it said right in my HR letter. There is no evidence demonstrating any of these accusations are true. However, the accusers are credible. So we are terminating her employment. And I knew they could be sued because when it came to time for severance, they offered me a severance and I upped it by $2,000. They offered me the $2,000 extra. I upped it by $2,000 and I took it as high as I thought was reasonable. I took it high because I knew it was happening. I knew they would do anything to keep this out of litigation because they absolutely had no reason to fire me. But nonetheless, ladies, lesson to be learned. Two lessons. Don't ever outsmart your boss, and don't try to be friends and go out of your way to build a collaborative team environment. Do it through professional events such as team building events, things like that. Don't do it one-on-one where there's no witnesses and where anybody can twist your words and twist your intent and twist the whole content and meaning of a conversation. And the third tip I'm going to give you is, other than to let gossip die with you always, let you be the place where it goes to die, is a little different than the others. The other one is about women. And the thing is about women is women, and especially, and even bosses, women are just women. They are very insecure. They are easily intimidated. They have soft little hearts and they can't take a joke and they can't laugh. And they just, most of them, I'm not friends with a lot of women. There's a very few I can handle. And no offense to anybody, but I really need a good sense of humor. I need some logic and intelligence, and I need realism and realistic common sense to be able to manage a friendship with women. And I've got a few solid, good little pack of women that I'm friends with, and that's all I can manage because they get ridiculous. And the gossip's ridiculous, the feelings, a lot of feelings, too many feelings, and it's important to acknowledge your feelings, but it's not important to make them the world's problem and everybody's priority. And women tend to do this, and particularly some types. You might not be that type, but you know someone who is. You know someone who is. And you probably know like 10 women who are, not just one, because it's dominant in our gender, unfortunately. And psychologically, and from a psychological background, which I also have, in forensic psychology, it's proven psychologically that women utilize emotions as a weapon. They will weaponize it, and that's been done to me. So don't make those two mistakes. Third mistake, or third tip of advice, which I've never been impacted by negatively because I've always known this and I always do it, is dress for the level of the job above you. Always present yourself even more professionally than your role. Even if everybody else is walking around in nice dark jeans and little flats or running shoes and like a nice clean t-shirt, that's nice and all. Be a businesswoman. Always stand on business. And when you always present yourself that way, you will be respected that way and you will be treated that way. And actually, there's a fourth thing. And I kind of got into it in my last comment about staying up all hours of the night, 11 o'clock at night, and then working at 5:30 in the morning on my work to get that audit done. If you want to be respected, set up boundaries in your workplace. Don't be the girl that will work all night and day. At 5 o'clock or when you're done, you are done for the day. You're not responsible to answer your phone unless you're on call, unless you are in emergency on-call contact or a crisis worker or something of that sort. Your phone is off. Like, you're not responsible to answer emails or Teams chats or anything above, or Slack or any of that during your off hours. Those are yours for you to build whatever you want in your personal life. And the other thing is, don't be the girl that will do everybody else's job for them to help them out because you want to build that team environment and feel like we're all working together. So I'll do some of your job for you and expect that back, because it doesn't come back. All it does is it feels like you're stepping on them. And they get all emotional again, and they feel like you're stepping on them, and it's offensive, and really you're just trying to be a really positive person and be helpful, but it's a mistake. Don't do it. Set your boundaries, work your job, do your job, coordinate team building events if you're an executive or you're in a management position. If you're not, suggest team building events. That's fantastic, but in a professional capacity, and don't do it one on one. Don't do it without witnesses. Don't do other people's jobs for them. Nope, do your own job and make sure you pass on the responsibility of other people's roles to them. If they fall on your lap, that is a test. They are testing your boundaries, just like a child will test your boundaries and leave their room a mess to see if you'll clean it. Well, nope, they can come home from school and make their own bed and clean their room. So don't allow it to happen at work either. And that is my video for this evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. I am building from zero. My old channel got shadow banned, and I watched my subscribers drop by thousands, and I stopped gaining, and my views went down to zero. Not to zero, but you know what I mean? Like, I lost thousands of views all at once. So I am starting from the beginning. Help me out here, and I'm going to cover all different types of topics, all different types of things, and we'll get into politics and feminine issues and all sorts of stuff. Today just happens to be business, and I've got lots of great ideas and things I want to talk about, because this is basically going to be like a podcast. Like, I just want to chat about stuff that's on my mind. And today it was really important for me to share this with you because it came to my mind and it remembered me. I was hurt when I lost that job. I loved it. And I had done nothing wrong but do my best and work my hardest to cover for everybody else. And that was a terminal error. And I learned it. But I learned it late in life. And I want all of you to learn it before it bites you in the ass. And that is the video. I will see you all soon, and thanks for joining.